Football is
Football is America. If you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass at the moment in time. I don't give a damn. Oh my God. You love this.
30-27. Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30-20.
And a game that reminded everybody that there will be no dry spell. There will be no lapse in quarterback play. There's not going to be, which is crazy, right? Every team goes through this besides the Green Bay Packers. Every team. It's unheard of.
Something in the water over there. I think it's steroids.
I think maybe Vince Lombardi was into witchcraft and there's something in Lambeau, but this game was on the road. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Jordan Love was absolutely just unreal. Really. Yeah. It was unreal. He introduced himself to the football world as the new quarterback for the Green Bay Packers and not Aaron Rodgers' backup. No. This is Jordan Love's football team now. He went absolutely insane. He had the type of game that people might be saying, hey, maybe you should have put Jordan Love in week 18 last year and maybe the Packers would have been in the playoffs. And now I don't know if that's entirely fair. It's a different season and a different story, but Jordan Love has absolutely just from when we saw the Packers like 3-5, it was over, man. We weren't even talking about the Packers. Like it was like, oh my God. I remember I was like, oh man, I knew that they weren't going to easily win 8 games. No. I was wrong. The Packers turned it around like towards the end of the season. And the real question was this going to be able to roll over into the playoffs? Were the Packers going to be able to take the good quarterback play from Jordan Love and bring it into Dallas, a team that's got the number 2 defense, number 1 offense, and they were at home? Was he going to be able to have even a shot in this game? And a lot of people said no. And Jordan Love came out. They came out. I think Matt LaFleur scripted like the first 12 plays, and they all worked. They went straight down the field and scored on a touchdown drive that had running, it had passing, it had play action. It was absolutely just extremely balanced, and Aaron Jones was clearly just having himself a day. And the Cowboys had no answers, and it was like, okay, well, the first drive, is that just a fluke? And then it happened again and again and again. And the Packers really, they didn't turn it on like in the middle of the game or in the middle of the first quarter. Like they came out and they were on and never went off. And I felt like there was moments where I was waiting for Dallas to kind of climb back into the game when it was 14-0, and it just did not happen. Dak Prescott, he's under a lot of fire right now. He said that he sucked in a press conference. But to me, the story is more about Jordan Love and what he's done, because he threw for 272 yards. He had 3 touchdown passes and only 15 completions. That tells me that there's a lot of bullets left in this chamber. Like this isn't even Jordan Love, like really letting it rip. Like that's what's crazy. Yeah. He just made a couple throws and the defense made a couple plays, or Dak Prescott didn't. And it worked out. CeeDee Lamb never really got on the same page with Prescott as well. CeeDee Lamb has been easily a 100+ yard receiver every game. I think he did go over 100, but there was a lot of garbage time yards involved in that. So I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy because I really enjoy watching the Packers succeed. I know you don't, but for a guy that hasn't seen my team in the playoffs for, the last 10 years, 9 years, it feels nice around this time to be able to have a team that I actually give a fuck about in the playoffs. And I know in the last year I didn't have that, so I went with the Bengals. But I really do love this story. I love the underdog story. I love the success that he's having, because to me, it's just not supposed to be happening. And I love that they're defying the odds. And it's like, if you can beat Dallas on the road, then, why can't you beat the 49ers on the road? I mean, like when does this,
why not?
Why not?
Why not?
that is all you can ask for as a fan base, right? You just want to know that you have a legitimate shot in some of these games. And Green Bay's defense delivered a shocking performance. So if they can bring that into Santa Clara next week, I think they got a good shot. But this could be the end of the Mike McCarthy era. I know there's a lot that I just laid on the table, but what stands out to you the most about everything that I said?
Jordan Love, man. Jordan Love and Aaron Jones. Like, it pains me a lot to give credit to the Packers because I don't know if you guys see that flag back there, but I'm a diehard fucking Bears fan. But you know what? Doing this podcast, I have enjoyed football more than I ever have in my entire last 20 seasons or so of being a fan, right? Because I get to see, this awesome playoff atmosphere. And whether it's the Packers, whether it is the Lions, whether it's the Niners, the Chiefs, whoever it is, you have to be able to give credit where credit is due. Even if it's the longest standing rivalry in the NFL and you're the Bears fan in that. Jordan Love was outstanding. Like you said, only 16 completions, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns. Aaron Jones went off with 3 straight scores. This Packers team, God, it's almost unfair. And this is coming from a Bears fans point of view, right? So it's almost unfair to just see them go into Dallas, which, by the way, they are 6-0 in AT&T Stadium, dating back to 2010 when they won that Super Bowl against the Steelers.
That stadium's 14 years old.
Oh, yeah, they are 6 and and probably a little bit older than that. I'm not entirely sure. I just know that their first trip there was 2010 for the Super Bowl in which Aaron Rodgers beat the Steelers.
Dude, time flies. I thought that stadium was like 8 years old for some reason.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't that much older either, but I'm like, oh no, that's that old.
Yeah, because it was before we joined the military for sure.
So the Packers have just loved AT&T Stadium, right? Do they need a dome in Lambeau? I'm not going to get into that. But they loved that stadium. They went into this game, into Dallas, into the Cowboys' home turf, knowing that the entire season, Dallas at home has never trailed by more than 8 points. They got out to a 27-0 lead on this Dallas Cowboys team who was dominant at home, scoring more than, I think it was more than 2 scores than away scoring, right? Like their total scoring at home was like 10, 12 points more than away. They went up against this defense that has been very dominant all season with Micah Parsons leading the way. They went up against this team who is America's team, and they went in there and they're like, no, we know our history against you, and we're going to continue that history, whether it be with Aaron Rodgers or now our guy Jordan Love and a couple of young receivers and Aaron Jones. Like, they went in there with fucking swagger, man. Bisaccia, the coaching assistant, I forget exactly what he does. I think he's defense. As he's going into the tunnel, he's yelling, "How about them Cowboys in AT&T Stadium?" Isn't that crazy?
He wants to talk Mother.
They led the Dallas Cowboys 41-16 at the end of the third quarter. When you talked about that garbage time yards, garbage time touchdowns, three quarters, the only points that the Cowboys were able to score were 16. So, like, come on, right? Like, this was just an ass whooping no matter what the score tells you. This was an ass whooping of the biggest proportions. And the Cowboys on the other side. Dak. Oh, Dak. Poor Dak. Poor little baby Dak, dude. Oh, this is exactly what you didn't want to happen. All season long, he proved himself who he was going to be. I'm not throwing double-digit touchdowns or interceptions, and he turned out to be the leading touchdown thrower as a quarterback, as well as having the fewest interceptions among quarterbacks. And what did he do? He threw, 2 interceptions in this game. One of them went for a pick 6, and just the rest of them, garbage time touchdowns. So this Cowboys team, and look, it's not all on Dak. It's not all on Mike McCarthy. Dan Quinn and that defense looked like shit. they look like a defense that wasn't this year's defense. They look like that defense from fucking 10 years ago when they can barely limp into the playoffs, right? When the Eagles and the Commanders and even the goddamn Giants were competing for the division crown. The Dallas Cowboys defense looked bad. It looked bad. And just like you put up there, Dan Quinn's stock nosedives. It does. Is he going to be a head coaching candidate? I don't think so. After that performance, there's going to be some calls, but what he's done through the regular season was impressive. But what really matters is what happens in the playoffs. And that defense did not show up one bit. As far as Mike McCarthy goes, we might be seeing the end of him, but I think it's going to be a few more days until they really make a decision. And Kyle and I, we talked about it. Do you really want to get rid of a coach who has improved your team overall this regular season? Like, do you really want to do that? Do you really want to get rid of Dak, who has made leaps and bounds from what he was last year? You're going to take this as a loss, as a huge loss, as an embarrassing loss. But really, the only way from here is up. And that's how this game is going to, that's how this team has to look at it, right? Only way from here is up. This is one of the rock bottoms that you're going to go through, but only way is up.
Yeah, it's just difficult because it seems like every season they have to have this positive outlook on we're right there, and then next year we'll finally be over the
fitness chick.
Appreciate it. I love fitness myself. It's like they're always super, super close, right? They get right there, and then it's like, how many times are they going to tell themselves this story? And then finally you go into a year where you're number 1 on offense, number 2 on defense. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, we finally have it. There's no more, we'll be better next year. Like, we are the better versions of ourselves this year. Mm-hmm. And somehow it all just goes to shit in so fast too, immediately. So we talked about Jordan Love. Well, check this out. Jordan Love's 157.2 passer rating is the highest in a road playoff game in the Super Bowl era.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
In other words, this has never happened before, ever.
Fuck.
And then we talk about, who he exceeded to?
Who?
Glad you asked. Bart Starr, the first Green Bay Packers quarterback. And weirdly enough, Dak Prescott in last year's Wildcard win over Tampa. Now, we say a lot of things that we see and that we feel, and it's nice to have stats to back it up. Check this out. When we talked about Love and his decision-making against the blitz and pressure, Love completed all 4 passes attempted under pressure for 114 yards and a touchdown.
Oh
Literally
God.
Every time he was under pressure, it resulted in something good. Over 100 yards and a touchdown. The Packers definitely have something special there. It is funny that Tom Grassi was mad about the Jordan Love thing, and that's just why fans don't draft quarterbacks. That's why fans don't draft anybody. We just sit back, watch, talk shit until we're good, and then we love everything. Yep. It's just what we do, man.
That's fandom, baby. That's fandom.
That's fandom. Like, if Russ worked this year, I would be like, let's ride, It's just, what do you want from us? We just want to win, man.
Yep.
Okay. You got anything left on that game? Because I'm really pumped up about this next one.
No, my MVP in that one. Yeah, real quick. I think my MVP is going to continue a theme that I was talking about earlier. Romeo Doubs, man. 151 yards receiving and a touchdown. The wide receivers, they are showing out. Romeo Doubs was a rookie last year, and we looked at him with Aaron Rodgers, and we're like, this guy's going to be somebody. So look what he does in the playoffs, man. 151 yards and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs is my MVP for this game.
You don't want to give it to Jordan Love.
Because I knew you were.
Oh, okay. I'm like, this
Jordan who?
He's like, Romeo Doubs.
Yeah. Whoever the quarterback was that threw to him, good for him. But I mean, Romeo Doubs.
Yeah, insane. No, I'm gonna give my MVP to the quarterback that did something that has never been done before, because it was his game to lose. It was his moment that he could have showed up not ready for. The crowd could have gotten to him. He could have got shaky. He could have thrown an early pick. Instead, he did none of that, and he put the Packers not just in position to win, but he put them in a position to blow the doors off the Cowboys. And I think that's got to be the MVP. If there really is one award, it's got to go to Jordan Love. That's insane.
And one more point I want to make, and this is more of a general point, nothing necessarily in the playoffs to do with these games, but let's take a look at these quarterbacks that we've talked about, right? Dak Prescott, 4th, 5th rounder. CJ Stroud, 2nd overall pick. Jordan Love, a 1st rounder or 2nd rounder, if I'm not mistaken. I think a 1st rounder, right? They were all taken by this organization who needed a quarterback, who needed an answer to quarterback. Maybe not necessarily the Packers, right? Because they did have Aaron Rodgers, but they kind of knew where they were headed, right? Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers for some time. CJ Stroud started the first game. Dak Prescott has weapons and was a 4th rounder, whatever, has gotten weapons just thrown at him. And let's look at the success that we see on all 3 of these quarterbacks, right? When people say the recipe for success for a quarterback is to let him sit behind this quarterback for a year or two, because then that's how they're going to succeed. You look at Jordan Love. When people say you need to start him immediately because we've got to see what he's made of, you look at CJ Stroud and Patrick Mahomes in a sense, right? He sat behind for a year. He's another example. And when you have people like myself that say get weapons around this quarterback or he's not going to be successful, you look at a guy like Dak. There is no clear-cut answer as to how to get a quarterback ready. The only person that can get a quarterback ready is that fucking quarterback. So I think really a lot of these discussions, a lot of these arguments will continue to be had, but we got to admit there is no right or wrong answer how to go about it. It is all dependent on that guy who touches the ball every single offensive snap. It's on him.
It's got to be, right? Only one that touches it, like you said, every single game. All right.
Touching it.